Whether it's at Neckley or in Chapa, at Science Hall or Blanca Vista, I have seen, I guess most recently in Fluker, the commitment that the teachers of this district show to their students. And I've also seen schools that are well maintained with support staff that take pride in their campus and in supporting and caring for these young people. Last Sunday, I ran into one of these overpaid school teachers. She was an art teacher there in Austin, and she was checking out groceries for us when Libby and I went in to get our groceries last weekend, moonlighting to try to get the pay necessary with a second job to provide for her family. As we compete, and several of John did such a good job of making this point, but as we compete with China, with Germany, with all the rest of the world, I think what we need to be doing is increasing our investment in education from pre-K to post-grad to strengthen our workforce. And yet, as you know, what we see here is a state that's focused on how much we can move backward, how much we can slash. We talk about a rainy day. I don't think this is a rainy day. I think it is a flood of wrong coming out of this state capitol. Back to last September and October and November, and I heard the governor and the other state officials tell us time and again how much better our economy was than everybody else, that we were booming, that we were doing great. Well, if we're doing so great and we're having so much success, why can't a little of the fruits of that success be used to ensure that our youngest Texans have some success in the future and have what they need in order to provide for their families? It was a few years before Lisa was at Zavala that I had my first elected position as the student captain of the safety patrol at Bricker Woods Elementary. Now I feel like I'm on a safety patrol of another kind up in Washington. Because sadly, congressional Republicans have identified education as an area for substantial cuts, just as they have in Washington. They're proposing in one resolution that has already been considered, and they're threatening to shut the government down next weekend if we don't agree to it. Cuts in science and math education, cuts in early education, eliminating a number of Head Start positions, cuts in Title I, which is important to the districts here in Hays County, cuts in IDEA, students with disabilities, and at the same time that they want all these cuts in federal aid education, they say to a student who wants to attend Texas State or ACC or UT or anywhere else that the maximum individual Pell Grant would be slashed by $800 a year. It's billions of dollars in reduced federal student assistance for the future of those proud students, Margie, that we saw walk across the stage there with their diploma and who want to get more education. I've always believed we ought to be providing every bit of education that a student is willing to work for to achieve their full God-given potential. And if we continue to pursue the kind of cuts that this legislature and this Republican House in Washington are talking about, we are not on a pathway to success. We're on a surefire fast track to mediocrity. That's what this is all about. I'm telling you just a little bit about this debate that I have going on with the governor. Because it didn't start out as a debate with him. He chose to make it that way rather than to deal with the substance of the amendment that 12 members from Texas decided to add to the education bill last year. We had received reports from parents and from school administrators and school boards and Texas School Board Association people all over the state asking us to see that education funds were not misallocated and denied to our schools again. And so we offered a very simple amendment. We put a string on federal aid to education to Texas. And it is a very simple string. It says that if we get federal aid to education, it ought to be used for education. Just like when we send Homeland Security money down here for the border, it's not supposed to be used for parkland. Well, if we send education aid here, it's supposed to make a difference in Hays County schools. And it would. If this amendment were fully implemented by the governor signing an application, it would mean almost $1 million in San Marcos. It would mean well over $500,000 here in Hays Consolidated. That's money that can be available as soon as he signs a simple 3-page application. It doesn't prevent the legislature from making some cuts, some bad cuts, some unwise cuts. All that it says is, don't cut education more than you cut anything else. Don't pick on education just because our schools are getting some federal aid. We saw them divert and simply replace state aid with over $3 billion of federal aid in 2009, the last time the legislature was here, and we don't want to see history repeat itself. For months, we've expressed a desire to work with the governor and his allies to say, if you've got a way that we can get this money to be sure it goes to the schools and isn't subtracted from the other state aid, come forward. We're not wed to this one particular approach. Give us an approach that will work to get those dollars to the schools that need it. And they have offered nothing but requests to repeal the amendment and a frivolous lawsuit that they filed about it. I say it's essential that we involve more and more people on this and all the issues. Y'all have got some great signs. TSTA has provided some wonderful leadership on this. I mentioned some of the elected officials that are here. I'm so pleased that they've come out today. But I have to tell you and speak very frankly, I'm pretty disappointed that Jason Isaac isn't here today. Whether it's him or me or the mayor or these school board officials, we all have to be held accountable. And we need to be held accountable for our performance. Whether you follow a strict party line and a governor who's been indifferent and who has the audacity to blame these school trustees for the firings and the dismissals and the closures that he's caused by opposing the money they need to do their job, whether you're going to follow somebody like that or you're going to stand up for the students of this county. That's what's at stake. And I urge you to involve more of our neighbors, more of your fellow teachers, more of people who care about our future to not take no for an answer. Because the people that are taking this position, as John pointed out, it's not because of our economy. It's because they think it's good politics in the current mood that we're going through. And when enough of us say, no way, we're going to bring about the change that's necessary, we may not do it next week. We may not do it in the consideration of this. It may take 1 or 2 or more special sessions. It may not be done this year. Democracy is a matter that demands our continued involvement. And it's so easy to get burnt out, to give up, or to give in. But we've got to stay involved because we've got young people around here who can't do it for themselves. We've got to stand there with them. And I pledge my continued partnership to you. I look to you for your leadership. We're going to be partners for the future of our state and for quality public education. Thank you very much.